the guy said top 10 goals, and I battled. I could not, I mean, I said to him, well, I want to finish my MBL, and he says, well, that's not really a goal because you're already doing it, so it's going to finish at some time, What else? Well, I want to get married, I'm going to get married. I said, but you told me you're engaged. Yes, well, that's not a goal, it's going to happen. And he says, what is your life all about? And I battled. Now I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to take a minute just to ask you. It's a pity you don't have pieces of paper. If you have, good for you. When you get home, write it down. Just think it through in your mind. I'm not going to ask you to speak them out, but what are your top 10 goals? What is your life all about going forward? Just give it thought for a minute. Where are you taking your life to? I battled. And that was the most frustrating couple of hours I've ever spent with anyone. By the time he left, I actually realized I had nothing truly aspirational. Yes, I had exciting things I want to do with my life, but I had no compelling and no driving force. And it made me realize one thing, that unless I take accountability and responsibility for my own life, nothing is going to happen. Sure, I'm going to survive. Of course, I'm going to get older. Life's going to evolve. I'll get older by a year as each year goes by. But I'm actually not going to do anything worthwhile in my whole life. And for me, that was a turning point. And what started then led to a whole lot of other things in my life. I mean, the following week he came up, and now I was really, I was really on fire now. So, because he said to me before he left, anything you set, you write down as a goal, anything you can visualize, you can achieve. You can take control of your life, and you can make things happen in your life. And I said, okay, this bugger's going to come back. I'm going to write impossible things, and let's see what happens. So I remember he came back, and I said to him, well, I've got it. I said, okay, his name was Ian. I said, Ian, let's get going. The first thing I want to do, I want to be MD of this company. And I was waiting for him to blink, And he says, no, write it down. I said, oh, okay. I thought this guy was going to say, gee, don't set this goal. I said, write it down. So I wrote it down. And then I said, listen, I'm going to get married. I want to go to Mauritius for my honeymoon. And I mean, I was just a DP. There was no ways I could afford it. And he said, write it down. And I went on and on and on. And then when he finished, he said, is this it? And I said, yeah, that's it. And he said, but I mean, surely your life is worth more than all of these things. What? Just tell me. And I said, Ian, this is it. And he said, no, this is not it. I know. I can just tell by who you are that you can do much more. What you've written down for me is not it. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, okay, let's talk about holiday. What have you ever dreamt of doing? Not the usual things. I want to go here and say, no, give me something really big. I said, well, I want to go to Hawaii. Now, I was in Zimbabwe then. And I said, I want to go to Hawaii. And he said, write it down. And I said, yeah. And he said, no, write it down. You want to go to Hawaii? Write it down. It can happen. And I wrote it down. And he said, tell me about Hawaii. And I said, well, it's an island, somewhere. And he says, listen, it's not going to happen. I said, but you just said it's going to happen. He said, well, you don't even know where Hawaii is. You can't even see it in your head. You just want to go to Hawaii. How is it going to happen? Then he said, when I leave, go and see a travel agent, get brochures of Hawaii. No, internet wasn't quite like you youngsters are now. There wasn't much internet then. So you could hardly open the pages. Get all the travel brochures. And I want you, next time that we meet, because weekly meetings, next time that we meet, I want you to describe for me what an experience at Hawaii or in Hawaii would be like. So we did that. Came back a week later, I could close my eyes. And I was having fun because I was trying to prove him that this thing doesn't work. You can't just rock up in my life and tell me, if you can see something in your head, it's going to happen. I mean, that's like talking Greek, how do I just come up to you guys and say, guys, whatever your dreams are, whatever you want to do, whatever it is that you desire, if you can see it, it can happen. I mean, that sounds, we all know our lives. These things are not possible. So that for me was the motivating force, say, well, I want to be MD, and also then I want to, So I wrote it down. Long and short of it, after that meeting, within 2 years, As it turned out, this company, this guy was part of a franchise that worked on goals and goal setting and whatever it is. As it transpired, 2 years from then, I happened to win the award for the most improved client. You know? And I said, well, that's good. And he said, well, you won the award, come to this hotel in Harare and get the award. And I went there and I got the award. And he says that well, what's happening is whoever wins in the different countries actually is going to an international award ceremony. And in that award ceremony, they will, of course, choose an international client of the year. But guess where the function was that particular year? It happened to be in Hawaii. Now, I was like, hang on a second, here. Something is happening here. Now, this guy had forgotten about it. And I said, Ian, guess what goal? This thing works. You know, I've achieved one goal. I'm going to Hawaii. He was like, hey? He said, remember 2 years ago when we started, this is what... He said, oh, of course, it works, doesn't it? And I said, wow, it does. So anyway, so we went about 6 months later to the award ceremony. I mean, guys, you gotta go to Hawaii. you've gotta go. You've gotta put it down on your goals list. You've gotta go to Hawaii. Absolutely stunning. So I went, and there was the award ceremony, a week long in Hawaii. Everything paid for. Spent a week there, night of the award ceremony, and they're announcing the different winners of the awards. And lo and behold, the international winner, George Nipatsa from Zimbabwe. I was like, oh. So anyway, I got up and I just went and did a speech, and I said, I just want to thank Ian and blah, 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 and this is what's happened. And I set all these goals and my career, things are happening. I'm an executive, blah, blah. And I was quite excited about it. As I was walking down, the guy who was the MC says to me, young man, can I speak to you? And I said, yeah, sure. So afterwards, he said, listen, I just heard your story and what you're doing and where you're going. We have an international development faculty for Christian leaders. And I really think you should be trained in that thing. Just get the exposure and the training. We're not saying go and become a pastor, but do what you're doing in business, but we just equip you for leadership skills. Would you like to attend it? And I said, well, how much do I pay? Well, no, it's for free. It's for free. You know, you can come for free, a 2-week seminar, and we'll send you the letters. And I said, well, fine, cheap. Free leadership seminar training.